Hello, this is Jason Flowers, and I am doing my second Dropbox assignment on immigration. Will be 3.3B, and this one is looking more towards the Japanese culture, and have four questions to answer. So the first question is, what is your overall response to the role of propaganda plays in shaping perspective about people from other cultures? And then looking at both of the videos, I was really disappointed because both videos reminded me of how my forefathers was treated coming over from Africa, and the way they were rounded up and shipped over and things of that nature. I just thought it was very unfair and very unjust. And a lot of it just stemmed from fear and contentment. And I know that there was a war going on, but as they're saying, that you got to seek to understand before you seek to be understood. So I think when people act out of fear and contentment, they do things that really aren't God-like. It's more flesh-like. And so I just think it was a huge stereotyping by their culture, and didn't really get to know them as individuals. I mean, they were, after all, Japanese Americans. And then the second part of that question is, do you see evidence of ethnic focused propaganda today? And absolutely, especially when you start looking at how Hispanics are being treated. Those folks that are from South America are being treated. Those folks are from the Middle East are being treated. We're categorizing them. We're shipping them back to where they came from. They've been here for years. They worked for years here, and now they're being separated from their families. So that whole immigration law rule that we have going on now is really the same thing as they were doing back then with the Japanese Americans, as it pertains to Hispanics and South Americans, as well as those from the Middle East. So question number 2 is, what are your reactions to the overall message conveyed by the U.S. government through its explanation for forcing Japanese Americans into internment camps? And again, I was very disappointed. It was sad in my heart. And it just reminded me of, again, slavery and treating those Japanese Americans as refugees in their own country. So I didn't quite understand how come they were being treated that way. And again, I understand there was a wartime, and the war was against the Japanese. But again, they treated them as if they were second-class citizens, and they had been here for a while. And then the other thing is, they explained it as that it was for their own protection. I like the statement where it said, a young kid said, if it's for my own protection, then why are the guns facing me as opposed to facing outside the wall? So that was a really great example of how they were being treated. So I was just very disappointed, and again, just give me flashbacks of my culture, being African American, and how we were treated during times of slavery. So question number 4, what are your reactions to hearing about the same historic events the Japanese internment camps experience from the video? And it was, again, those folks, they were doing well, they were prospering. And when these internment camps had to come about, they had to lose, or they lost their property, had to leave it behind, they had to leave their values behind, or they really had to sell them for little or nothing. So they got no value for what they've earned. And that's not fair. Again, we go back to being fair and unjust. And the Bible speaks about being fair and unjust. And that is not the way that the Lord would have us to be towards each other. And then the last question is, if you were to engage in some type of ongoing cross-cultural ministry with the Japanese American upon their release from the internment camps, what would be that ministry? And then what first steps would you take to begin mending? So that ministry would be hospitality. And of course, just last week, or maybe even earlier this week, we did something around hospitality. So hospitality would be it. And that hospitality would be just helping them to make them feel that they're wanted and welcome, and have a sense of belonging by meeting their needs, and also by restoring them for all that they've lost. And I think that's very important. Restoration is important. Replenishing is important. just as the Lord provides for us and replenishes us daily and gives us grace and mercy each day and gives us strength and gives us rest. We should do the same for them in terms of meeting their needs and providing for them and being very hospitable towards them. So again, those are my responses, and I look forward to your feedback. Thank you and have a good day.